It is war in the Middle East. At about 1:30 this afternoon Eastern Time, Israeli tanks, troops, and armored personnel carriers crossed over the Israeli-Gaza border. On the Palestinian side, in the intense artillery and aerial strikes by Israel over the last 9 days, leading up to today's battles, more than 450 people are already dead, hundreds of homes destroyed, and thousands wounded.
Right now, the only way to change reality is to give the Hamas a clear message by Israel, by using military force.
Hamas so far showing no sign of faltering. The terror group continuing to lob rockets into Israel, where at least 4 Israeli civilians have been killed.
The past experience showed that the assassination of senior Hamas leaders will not weaken us, but Hamas military power is increasing, and we will target deeply inside the Zionist entity.
It is the most violent blitz on Gaza since Israel captured the territory from Egypt back in 1967. And it goes even further back than that, to 1948, when Israel was born in bloodshed and conflict, a deadly state of affairs that has flared on and off, mostly on, for almost the entire last 60 years. Israel occupied Gaza till September 2005, when all Israeli troops and settlers withdrew, leaving the narrow 25-mile strip of desert to control by the Palestinian Authority. But then the much more militant Palestinian group called Hamas gained power by popular vote. Despite the harsh rhetoric and violence from Hamas, there have been brief periods of optimism. Most recently in June 2008, when Israel and Hamas agreed to an Egyptian-mediated ceasefire. But that proved short-lived. This round of violence began on November 5th, when Hamas declared the ceasefire over. And once again, rockets and mortars began flying over the Gaza border into Israel.
Only last week, Israel was attacked from Gaza Strip, and in a day, about 80 missiles and mortars were fired against Israeli civilians.
It was promised that we would not have any rockets fired at us or any terrorist attacks from Gaza, but in fact the opposite has happened. They turned it into one huge missile base that is firing rockets indiscriminately into our cities.
By December 27th, Israeli leadership decided that Hamas had gone too far.
Israel is prepared for everything that will finish once and for all this situation, this nightmare.
The last thing we want is war, but we have to protect our heads.
On Thursday, the new year was ushered in with even more bloodshed, as an Israeli plane dropped a 2,000-pound bomb on the home of senior Hamas operative Nizar Riyan, killing him, his 4 wives, and 9 of his children.
A crime like this, assassinating this Hamas leader and others like him, this will not put an end to Hamas.
Then after 9 days of preparation came today's invasion. Israeli tanks and troops massed along the border. And at about 1:30 Eastern Time, 8:30 Saturday evening in Gaza, after dark, Israel made its move. Ehud Barak, the Israeli defense minister, said that today's Israeli actions will not be swift or easy. And the truth is, no one knows where this one will end.